Yo, what is going on, everybody? How are we doing today? I am here to discuss Blue Lock, the GOAT. Give me 1 second. Let me swap everything over. Okay. Just got everything open. All right. How the heck are we doing, everybody? What up, #1 fan? Play some Megadeth, honestly, based. Let me get the wallpaper started up. How are you guys doing? I hope you guys are all having a beautiful and glorious Tuesday. Whether it's afternoon, morning, or night, just know that I'm sending you that spirit bomb energy because that's what matters in everyday life. That's what's going to get you through the toughest times of all. Kinship, I'm here for you. And I'm here to discuss Blue Lock. Pause it at the zombie opponent. Oh boy, my man Lorenzo. Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about the Neo Egotist League. So to give you guys an idea, to give you guys a brief introduction to this stream. So I read Blue Lock maybe like a year ago. And I read up to like halfway through U20. About halfway through, like maybe the score was like 2-1 or something like that. U20 was in the lead. This is a spoilers stream, by the way, if that wasn't clear. I'm all the way caught up to chapter 285. And I kind of just fell off with it. I started reading something else, or something happened where I started moving my attention to something completely different, and I completely fell off of Blue Lock. However, now that I have returned, I have to say that, oh my god, I was missing out on so much. And I think the best way to describe and get all of my thoughts out is to do a tier list. Although it's not going to be like a definitive tier list. Please don't be like I can't believe you put this person over this person. Like, I haven't really put much thought into this really at all. Please keep that in mind. And I do apologize if it sounds like someone's being murdered in the background. I promise you, no one is being hurt in this video. They are doing, what's the proper word, renovations in the apartment next to me because the people moved out. So they are just redoing all the carpets, everything, and listing everything. So if you hear loud banging and just crazy nonsense, that is why. You see, I need to find the most recent poll here to make sure that it has everyone in it. We need to have all the way up to the most recent game between Bastard Munchen and PXG. Best Blue Lock tier list 284. Perfect. Does it actually have everyone? Where's Charles? That's who I have to look for. If it doesn't have Charles, it does. Okay, we're good to go. Presentation mode. Get all these ads out of here. So the tier list just lets me get my thoughts out about individual characters. And please don't take any personal offense to the rating that I give these characters. Because I promise I have very strong opinions that some of you may enjoy, some of you may not enjoy. And that's just how it's going to have to be. Understood, but if Chigiri isn't in your top 5, you are objectively wrong. We might have some disagreements already from the jump. But yeah, I hope everyone's great, and I hope we can all have a very fun and very even though I'm strongly biased, I hope that we can all appreciate the different opinions that will be thrown around and we can argue and debate them into the ends of the earth. Now, that being said, I don't even know who Adam is. Bro, we're all biased. It's Blue Lock. Fair enough. That's the worst part. Oh, he's one of the people from the final game, the Team World 5 that they play, right? England national football team. So he'll probably be in the World Cup. So right now, so we should do a no opinion. You know, let's do that for sure. The best. Pretty good. Embarrassing. The embarrassing tier is necessary, or maybe embarrassment. What fits all on one? Just lame. Cheeks. There we go. There you go, Tiberius. That's what I'm talking about there. And then mid. I think that's I think that's literally all we really need. We'll change the best to pure ego, baby. Right? Chris Prince was interesting as fuck at the point I paused at. Oh yeah, I think Chris Prince was a very fun character. I genuinely enjoyed his introduction to Blue Lock, and I even, Tiberius, me and you even talked about it because Chris Prince literally has one of the coolest quotes that I literally want to put up on my wall, which is like, you know, always be your ideal self. Always, you know, what does the ideal Chris Prince say? I'm going to have to pull some of these panels up now. Let me pull up my volumes of Blue Lock that I have all downloaded onto my computer here. Where would Chris Prince be? It'd be before. It'd definitely be before the Italy game. $199. Let's shoot for 190. Game's still going on. These games are super long in the Neo Egotist League, and honestly, they're so juiced up in the Neo Egotist League. I genuinely have like so much to say about a lot of these games. They are such a big difference compared to the games of Blue Lock. The games of Blue Lock were fun to go through, right? They didn't get old. They were always fun and interesting. I literally would jump out of my seat every time someone scored a goal. The selection arc, things kind of slowed down, of course. It's a little buffer arc. But once you get into U20, you know, I mean, Aiku specifically, you know, as a character that I would definitely rate as pretty good. I don't think he's had as great of a shine since U20. But still, IQ is the perfect example of U20 being one of the greatest moments of Blue Lock and the culmination of everything Act 1 of Blue Lock really came to. Like, the amount of fucking shit that came out from that game. Nagi's insane goal. The very beginning of the game when Aiku literally pulls the snake fucking breath and fucking knocks out the first goal that Asagi and Bachira try to set up to completely set the stage that this isn't, you know, we're not in Kansas anymore. The Blue Lock anime is not good at all. Trust me, the Blue Lock anime is terrible. They are completely shitting the bed with one of the greatest games of all time. But what are you gonna do? I haven't even watched the most recent episode because I heard it was so bad. But, you know, that's fine. The U20 game does deserve a lot better. It deserves so much better. Rinatoshi and Sai's rivalry, that whole game is literally the highlight of everything. I don't care what anybody says. When Rin goes to try and score the same goal as Sai is absolutely insane to me. There's so many great moments when Rin develops his ego. You know, he loses it until he regains it later in PXG, right? But when he fucking starts sticking his tongue out and starts destroying everyone, making them bring out their best weapons and then utterly demolishing them. I will never find this Chris Prince panel, but that's fine. Rin is trademarked by BR. Yeah, whatever. Rin isn't my favorite character by any means, for sure. But still, Aiku's introduction into U20 is awesome, and I do love the fact that he's someone that is upset that he's like, if Blue Lock came 3 years earlier, it really would have changed, you know, my whole entire life. Because he's someone who exhibited all the aspects of what a striker could have been, right? But he was constantly plucked and just mowed down and told to buckle and fucking break under the heels of Japan's crippling soccer regimen and their fucking terrible ideals in regards to fairness and teamwork, which always would cause them to lose. And Aiku was shoveled into shit for so long, up until he's graced in the U20 game by Blue Lock and seeing strikers being able to fulfill everything they could ever want in a team full of strikers. A team full of strikers was able to beat the actual U20 represented team of Japan. That had all actual positions and everything. Did you know Isayama's a huge fan of Blue Lock? He did some art for it and shouted it out. I did not know that. That's really cool. I actually didn't hear that. I actually didn't know that at all, but it makes sense. Isayama's a fellow egotist. I believe it. But yeah, the fact that Aiku realizes that there's a world out there for people like him, and he no longer has to be held down by the ideals of Japanese soccer is absolutely amazing. And I do love that we get to stick with him into the Neo Egotist League and not lose him as a character, because generally he's super fun. I mean, all of these characters have main character fucking energy. Don't get me wrong, the fucking 2 different colored eyes is insane. The fact that he has pseudo metavision, you know, he doesn't realize that Asagi has dubbed all of these ridiculous fucking terms, but Aiku as well, I think playing with Nico and Baro, while he's definitely developed and has been able to level up his defensive skills, I haven't really seen much else from him otherwise. So besides being a really cool character, and, you know, still being very present and doing a lot of big plays in the Neo Egotist League for Italy, I just, I definitely can't put him in pure ego. I gotta put him in pretty good. Ryu, definitely mid. You know, I don't think he's a bad player. I don't think there's anything wrong with him. I love his whole glam and still, you know, feet. That's his whole character. He's very tall, so he's a great defensive man. Other than that, I can't really give Ryu much else. He's kind of faded into the background as the series has kind of gone on, right? We haven't really seen too much from him since, especially in the Neo Egotist League. You know, maybe he gets a headbutt here and there on the ball, but yeah, good saves and reaction. Who do you think takes the second defense spot, Nico or Ryu? Aiku obviously take first. I would definitely put Nico as the second defensive spot if we're putting Aiku at number 1. Without a doubt, Nico is way more involved than Ryu ever is on the field. The fact that his metavision is also very similarly evolved to Isagi's. So, I think I would definitely put Nico way above Ryu. Until Ryu unlocks a weapon, he's basically, you know, not that great. Now, we have to talk about a legend here. Bachira Meguru. Pure freaking ego. Might be a little biased here, But Bachira is one of my favorite characters of all time. Genuinely speaking, since chapter 1, episode 1, when he's first introduced, he has always been one of the most fun characters on screen for me at almost any given moment, even from the very beginning of the series. Like, sure, he's a big dribbler, that's his thing, but the fact that he's able to evolve alongside Isagi, in fact, almost always be one step ahead of Isagi half the time, it's genuinely speaking, like, everyone goes through the phase of him being the favorite. Oh, it's not a phase. I can promise you. I've been a Blue Lock fan for almost 2-3 years now. I still put him above everybody else. I don't think there's anybody who comes close to the amount of love I have for Bachira. He's just awesome, man. From the moment when he steps in to, like I said, chapter 1, when he's willing to kick, I don't even remember his name. That's how irrelevant he is. The dude that beat Isagi in the high school game, when he fucking kicks the football in his face. He's sleeping the whole time. And then even as their Team Z, he's always the character that's looking for a way to evolve, level up, and play the best possible soccer he can. When they're getting crushed by Team V, Bachira is the first character that goes, oh shit, guys, we're getting kind of outclassed here. That's fucking awesome. And when he gets taken and stolen by Rin's team, and he develops alongside Rin and everything like that is beautiful. I love his awakening moment, even though Asagi blocks Bachira's shot. I think his awakening moment is one of my favorite things of all time because I can relate so much to it. It's just the fact that he had such a passion and love for soccer, that he just loved the game so much and doing different dribbling and doing the best that he possibly could to level up and be the best that he could, and no one around him ever understood it, and if anything, they made fun of him for it. To hear him finally realize that, you know what, fuck other people. If other people don't understand me, I don't need them. I'm going to be the best fucking soccer player that I possibly can, and that's all I need. And genuinely, that's one of my favorite things about Bachira. That he just keeps pushing. He doesn't give a fuck what anyone thinks about him. He's just a cheeky little weird guy. Love him so fucking much. And you know what? In the U20 game, while he's very present and he has a lot of, decent moments and assists, I think where he really stands out is when he's in fucking Spain in the Neo Egotist League as the nucleus of the fucking team. The fact that Bachira is able to meet, what's his fucking name? What's the guy from Spain's name? Hey, good luck, Mario. Let's go. Present that television pitch. We got it, bro. We got it, bro. I believe in you. Sending you that spirit bomb energy. Everyone else is doing it too. I believe in you. This is the moment in TV. Yeah, the monster inside me says that those who are driven into a corner are the ones with nothing to lose. Lavinio, thank you. Lavinio. I'm not great with Spanish, but Lavinio. I'm sorry if I mispronounce any of these foreign names, but the fact that he was able to grow alongside Lavinio and become not only just an even better dribbler than he already was, who knew that was even possible, but turn that into a way where he could become the center of his team to be focused on, and everyone's hitting and sending him the ball and he's scoring goals on his own completely, exactly what he always wanted to do when he was still back in Blue Lock. That's where Shido should have went. Everyone's saying I wish Shido went to Spain. I will say I do like, the only reason because I see what you're saying. Shido going to Spain probably would have awakened different things inside of him than what he learned in France. But the one thing I will say is I do like the way that Shido going to France ended up in the climax of the Neo Egotist League, with the final battle being Asagi and Kaiser, especially now in 285 that they're literally teamed up and going up against Shido and Rin. Because not for nothing, sure, the next person that scores the next goal wins, but I mean, Rin honestly hasn't impressed me. I'll talk more about Rin when we get to him. He hasn't impressed me in this final game, even as he's awakened his inner demon. I'll talk more about that later, but if Rin and Shido learn to work together, that would be one of the greatest things in the entire world. But also at the same time, that might be the thing that gets Bastard the win over PXG, because Kaiser and Isagi are able to throw away their ego and work together to get the win, whereas Shido and Rin will never be able to fucking do that. If you purely look at what Ego says in Chapter 1, I feel Shido's exactly everything he asked for. It really made me feel it when he made Ego give up during the U20. Listen, I have interesting opinions about Shido, so when we get to Shido, we'll talk about it. I don't want to ruin anything yet. But yeah. Yeah, I put Bachira as my pure ego tier. I love Bachira. I think he's a great character. Obviously, he gets overshadowed by some of the other monsters. One we're actually literally about to talk about. As we see when Spain goes up against PXG, when Spain goes up against Italy, they're only able to score 1 goal at best compared to the monsters that are just on a completely different level. So I think while Bachira is definitely on the lower tier of pure ego, he's on the lowest. He's like just barely makes the cut. He's one of my favorite characters for sure. I love Bachira. I love Bachira a lot. Now it's time to discuss someone who is definitely ego incarnate. I think one of the strongest characters that represents ego of all time. In fact, to the point that some people in the community think that Barrow's going to be the true egoist that awakens from Blue Lock at the very end of the series completely more than anybody else. And honestly, I wouldn't be able to blame you on that. Barrow Shoei, honestly, I will say, as someone that didn't like Barrow very much in the first act of Blue Lock, Italy Barrow is definitely a very fun character, and a character that has grown a lot more on me. In the very beginning of Blue Lock, trust me, I think he's a strong fucking character. I think he's a pure egotist no matter what. I'll never take that away from him, even in the very beginning of Blue Lock. Don't take me wrong when I say that. You know, Barrow strikes me as someone that he's just a dickhead, you know? He constantly looks down on other people, but not for nothing, he's got all the skills to back it up because of that. And it's very interesting to see him whenever he does become a character that has lost, or loses, or when he loses to Asagi all the way back in the very beginning of Blue Lock. He completely breaks himself down and builds himself back up. And he sees a future of himself where he's just sitting down, drinking beer, and a depressed fucking, douchebag whose dream left them and flew past them, and watching everyone else play the U20 game, and Barrow refuses to let that future happen. And I respect that. I respect that Barrow will always claw himself up, and if he's not strong enough, he will fucking do whatever it takes to make himself stronger. And that's exactly what it takes to be an egotist. But not even that. Like I said, in Italy especially, the fact that he has truly come into his own, to the point that he has even proven that his own ego is stronger than someone like Mark Snuffy's, who has a very strong fucking ego in and of itself, an ego that some people find almost indomitable. Like even someone like Lorenzo, you know what I mean, ended up falling in line to Mark Snuffy and Snuffy's ideals. And Snuffy's a great guy, you know, it's not a bad thing to do. But I mean, Barrow was the original goal stealer, you know, him and Isagi stealing each other's goals. That was the very beginning of that whole fucking fiasco. But yeah, Barrow's Predator Eye is also one of the greatest weapons that I have seen in a long fucking time. the entire Predator Eye situation, the fact that he took Metavision, but got to Metavision in a completely different way, but not only that, developed it to be used for strictly for goals only, as opposed to viewing the field and viewing the entire world around you. It's used strictly to get the best possible goal that you can. Which I think is insane. His whole little fucking, where he has his teammates kind of confuse the goalie and then he kicks, is super dope. And I love that he has become the nucleus of Italy in his own way, to the point that he is even able to usurp Italy from its own fucking master. He usurps the team from his own team master. Like, it's genuinely one of the craziest things in the world. What did I think of Lorenzo? I thought Lorenzo was really cool. I like Lorenzo's design. Of course, I'll talk about him I'll talk about him a little bit more when he comes up, but I definitely like Lorenzo. I think Lorenzo's a cool guy. He's just a dirtbag, you know? He is what it is, but he's a good dirtbag, you know? Yeah, the villain, you know, the true villain, the fucking king himself. I think he has earned that king title, especially in Italy. Again, as someone that didn't have Barrow that high on, like, not on like an ego or like, you know, whatever, but like as someone that didn't have Barrow that high on like as like a likability factor, I definitely came to enjoy him very much more in Neo Egotist, and I'm excited to see how he progresses in not just the U20 World Cup, but just, yeah, it's insane. He really might go all the fucking way. He really might go all the fucking way. He is indeed the GOAT. He is indeed the GOAT. I gotta say, I love him. You know, he has become an awesome character that I could appreciate. Yeah, that 100,000, you know, 100 million or whatever. He deserves that fucking, he deserves that fucking price. Up next, you've got Charles, what's his name? Charles Prince, I think. So Charles Prince is, or Charles Cavalier, I'm sorry. Charles Prince, just Chris Prince. Sorry. The Charles Cavalier. Too many names. Charles is definitely a great character. The ultimate passer. The ultimate egotist passer, and probably the best, you know, comparison that we can make would be Hiyori. Hiyori's development was absolutely insane as well at the end of Italy. I have to say, I absolutely fucking love it. And well, you know, I'll have to save that for Hiyori as well, but I think Charles is just the, you know, complete antithesis. He's scary, you know, as a passer. The fact that he's one of the only people that will be able to adapt to someone like Shido besides someone like Sayatoshi is beautiful. Also, like, what the fuck is this, dude? Like, this is a soccer manga, by the way. Hey, China Doll, thank you for the 5 gifted. I appreciate the love. Thank you, girl. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Oh, that's beautiful. Maharaga wanted to stop by and say hi. But yeah, the fact that he's able to, you know, actually create chemical reactions with Shido says a lot. Not many people can do that. That's one of the hardest things to possibly do. But I mean, yeah, the offspring of Sai and Shido, basically. But, you know, all I can really say is, despite the fact that his metavision is like basically the next stage past Asagi's, it's like the next step. The fact that he is what Julian Loki wants to evolve. He's the pro player, not Rin or Shido, really, that he wants out of, you know, the Neo Egotist League. This is the player that Loki set his sights on, as opposed to either of them. I think that says a lot. So I'm definitely willing to put Charles in the pure ego category, but he goes right next to Bachira. Never read Blue Lock before. Blue Lock is one of the most fun series in the world. I recommend watching the first season of the anime. Don't watch the second season. Second season is trash. If you enjoy season 1 of the anime, definitely check out the manga because the art is immaculate. But yeah, I think if you watch I think the first season of the anime is good and enjoyable. I would recommend that much at least. Chigiri is a character that I can definitely also put in pure ego. Chigiri has been here from the fucking very beginning. Watching his development from the very beginning of Blue Lock was super fun. Seeing him be basically chained down, as we can see. You know, before he awakened his ability to use his legs and run without fear of hurting himself again and injuring his legs again. You know, I definitely related with him early on in the series of Blue Lock, and then watching him grow and adapt and become this speedster. But not just that, seeing him in the Neo Egotist League become more than his speed and just adapt all of his possible fucking abilities to just start scoring goals in his own. Start becoming a major player on the game and adapt his golden zone, which is fucking great. The Queen of England, Chigiri. Yeah, no, the new season is definitely getting very justifiable hate. The new season, they're animating it terribly. But I think the first season does a good job. I think the first season is very enjoyable. It's a very real thing with pro athletes mentally limiting themselves after an injury. It's true. It really, really is. The way that Blue Lock adapts some of these real world scenarios and real athlete, you know, struggles, but also at the same time, you know, making it one of the most fun fucking shonen battle sports games is crazy. Yeah, him learning to, you know, speed past all these characters. But again, the fact that Chris Prince in Manshine City was able to fully create the monster known as Golden Zone Chigiri is fucking insane. And again, having a monster like Chigiri and Nagi and Reo on the same team is glorious. I think Chigiri has earned, you know, his place on the pure ego tier. I would put him over Charles. I don't know. I would still put Bachira over Chigiri though, because Bachira is still again able to become the nucleus of Spain. However, I would argue that if Bachira was on Manshine City, so you know what? Yeah, actually, I'll put Chigiri above Bachira because Chigiri is able to shine alongside Nagi and Reo. Whereas if Bachira had, you know, similar crazy members on his team, I think Bachira would shine less. And I'm not insecure to say that. I'm not too insecure to say that about my GOAT, my number one. Chris fucking Prince is pure fucking ego in and of itself. This man is insane. I definitely, I don't think I would put Baro above him, honestly. But Chris Prince is one of the most egotistical motherfuckers in the entire world. Supposedly number 2 in the entire world. You know, however, I would argue that he's number 3 because if you go with the lore that Mark Snuffy is actually number 1 and Noel Noe is number 2, then Chris Prince can only be number 3. But you don't tell him I said that because he'll beat my fucking ass. But yeah, no, he is pure ego incarnate. And again, I think his whole shtick of do what the ideal you would always want to do is great motivational speech. And the fact that he's able to pick his, you know, the neo-egotist people, you know, up by their bootstraps and fucking train them and turn them into fucking men, like literally. It's I think they do an amazing fucking job of selling the team masters as fucking insane fucking pillars of what ego can give you and get you. And Chris Prince is an amazing coach. You know, I say he definitely, you know, how Chris Prince is the best NEL coach. It's true. He really is an amazing coach. That's really all I've got to say. Think he's the best coach out of the neo-egotist league for sure. Noe and Snuffy number 1. Okay, they share. Yeah, Noe's number 1 striker. Snuffy's the number 1 all-around player. That makes sense for sure. I believe that. That makes sense. But yeah, I like Chris Prince. And the fact that he blocks... The fact that he fucking blocks, what's his fucking name? Yukimiya. The fact that he blocks Yukimiya's kick when Yukimiya thinks he's the main character. Priceless. That was one of the most embarrassing things I've seen in my fucking life. And I was so happy when that shit happened. Yukimiya really thought he was him. Shout out to Blue Lock for finishing 5th in overall volume sales. Hey, okay. Not bad. But yeah, I like Chris Prince. Not much else to say about him other than that. Gagamaru is another character that I really don't have much to say about, although I will give him pretty good because he is legitimately the best goalie in Blue Lock. For a character that has come into Blue Lock trying to be the best striker and has survived literally just being goalie for the most part and resigned to that, I think he's the only goalie that gets striker moments and gets main character moments as a goalie. So we got to give him that. And he also had one of the craziest saves in the world a couple chapters ago. So yeah. Last year they were first. That World Cup gas was premium. Very true. All right, bro. Here's something right here. Hiyori Yo has fucking leveled up and his stocks have risen to the highest degree. If anyone in the world was holding on or bought Hiyori stocks in the fucking beginning of the series, I don't know who possibly would. But if anyone ever did, they are a rich fucking man. Talk about buying Bitcoin at $1 and watching it rise to 30,000. Like buying 50,000 Bitcoin, you know what I mean? Like, Hiyori Yo was the greatest investment that fucking Blue Lock ever made. Because, oh my god, that level up that he got is insane. Seeing him go from the person that was just like, oh, like, you should just go Ultra Instinct, Asagi, and let me just pass you the ball, Asagi, no problem, to becoming a person that is literally an actual contender for becoming a genuine nucleus of the team or of his own team, and he starts making key plays of the game in and of itself. Like, he is now on the field blocking passes, blocking shots, you know, stealing the ball and setting up plays. And sure, ultimately at the end of the day, Isagi is still the one that he follows into the night. But also at the same time, I mean, God fucking damn. He is the ultimate incarnate of ego when it comes to, you know, being second string. And the fact that he is set to basically just be the perfect opposite to Charles here, you know, that's why I put them right next to each other. They're perfect. And but the difference and why I would put Hiyori above Charles, that I haven't seen from Charles yet, is that Hiyori is very much willing to become and usurp Isagi and start hitting fucking crazy goals of his own. I don't know if I've seen that from Charles yet, and if I have, I completely missed it, and it wasn't memorable enough for me to remember, which that's not in this day in this game. If you're not remembering, and if you're not making memorable moments, what kind of player, what kind of egotist are you, right? But Hiyori and Charles are definitely neck and neck for being ultimate fucking midfielders. And I love how, even though everyone's set to be a striker, everyone is kind of falling into their own place. It's actually amazing. And I wanted to put it off for a little bit longer, but you know what? Let's just talk about it, because honestly, all of these characters have genuinely something good to talk about. So let's just talk about Isagi. Honestly, I gotta put Isagi as the number one right now, because as far as it goes, Isagi was able to beat Italy and conquer Baro. Baro's gonna come back for revenge, I'm sure. But I have a lot to say about Isagi Yoichi. Isagi Yoichi, as a character, phase 1 of Blue Lock, you know, going through all of that up to the U20, Isagi definitely grew and became a decent soccer player. You know, he definitely did, you know, a decent job. But even in the U20 game, Isagi was more of a narrator. He was more of the character that was surrounded by other main characters that were all doing great and amazing things. Nagi, Rin, all of these characters were better than him in certain aspects, and he was always falling behind in certain degrees. Sure, he was able to be good enough to maintain decent rivalries with them, don't get me wrong. And even in the U20 game, this moment where he tells Ego to fucking, you know, they want to become the world's best, how do they fucking win? Fuck that shit, I want to win. He represents great ego, and he gets that fucking goal, that winning shot, you know, at the end of U20, you know, and scores the game-winning fucking shot. And I think he earned that game-winning shot, and he earned that moment when he was at his hometown, and his friend was like, oh, you know, you just got lucky. And he was like, oh, yeah, you think so? You think I got lucky, huh? I fucking crawled my fucking way through Blue Lock and fucking just barely fucking made it, and you're gonna tell me that I got fucking lucky? And it drives him insane. And I think he rightfully deserved that. Isagi, you know, earned his place in the U20 game. In Neo Egotist, Isagi turns the fuck up. Isagi becomes more than just the watcher, the person that's narrating the people on the field doing other things. And I think the way that he was evolved is one of the coolest things in the entire world that could have ever been done, because they took the idea that Isagi is this character that's always watching the game around him, and his thoughts are narrating the other players and what they're doing, and Shido's doing this, and Ren's about to do this, and we're gonna do this and do this strategy to do this in the game, and he's gonna score this, and he's gonna do this. They found the best way possible to make this a weapon for Isagi, so that way Isagi can actually be active on the field. Now, when Saitoshi mentions to Rin that Isagi is the striker that will awaken Japanese, you know, soccer, Isagi is the nucleus of your team. He was the center. That, genuinely, I don't know if I believe that wholeheartedly 110%. Now, when people say that Isagi is the nucleus of the team, you 110% believe that. When Isagi is seeing Baro dash between, defenders and get set up for a goal, that narration now ends with Isagi blocking the shot, or Isagi doing something fucking insane. Isagi is now making major plays in the game. Isagi is literally not just now competing with Kaiser and wondering how he can possibly beat Kaiser, but literally surpassing Kaiser and making more plays than him, and even usurping the team from Kaiser in certain moments. And sure, Ness can do his best to try and stop it, but the moment in the Italy game when Isagi has evolved Metavision after the England game, and he actually and the very first beginning, he blocks Baro's shot and then scores his own goal. Oh my god. Isagi is literally like, again, I can't stress enough, watching him level up and watching him truly devour these other characters. And now up until 284, when he's talking shit to Noel Noe and Julian Loki and teaming up with Kaiser to not only just surpass his ego and the level that he's already reached, but become the best striker any way he knows how. The lefty shot, the fucking double fucking barrel fucking goal strike. Oh my god. Like, he is, in my opinion, more impressive than Rin in this very moment. Isagi has literally become a full-fledged fucking striker in the Neo Egotist League, and is literally, again, like, went from the character that would watch everything happen around him to the character that is now making major plays, and that development is so worthwhile. It feels so earned. It feels so beautiful. Let alone now you've got him even breaking through ego yet again and developing himself past Rin to the point that he literally is almost possible to surpass fucking Noel Noe and Kaiser. This goal here, the double barrel goal, is literally one of the craziest things I've seen in the world. You now have Isagi making world-class plays. This is a Nagi moment. This is like a insane Rin Itoshi moment that Isagi just pulled off, and it feels so earned. It doesn't feel forced. It feels beautiful. It feels realistic. And the fact that now he's like, fuck you, Noel Noe. I don't need you anymore. I think he's fucking playing and becoming, still being a major player on the field when the team masters are on the field. Like, I cannot wait to see the World Cup, and I cannot wait to see the end of this PXG game. Genuinely, I can't wait to see it. And see this final matchup between Isagi and Rin. Because to be honest with you, like I said it before, Rin's development in this France game hasn't impressed me. If anything, Shido's been more of a star player in this final game than Rin has. Even with Rin's insane fucking unlocking of his ego full time and becoming the tongue out, monster that destroys and kills everyone after they've shown their best weapon. The Isagi and Kaiser team up might be exactly what they need to defeat PXG. Because again, I'll say it, the only way I see PXG coming back is if Isagi and Shido are actually able to team up. This goal from Rin was really cool, but still, other than that, I've been much more impressed in everyone else than I have been in Rin this game. Isagi is genuinely, if he becomes number one at the end of this, at the end of the Neo Egotist League, it's earned, and it's fully like, I will full and wholeheartedly say yes, Isagi deserves to have #1. It's not because he's the main character. It's not because the author wanted to give it to him. It's because Isagi has earned every fucking single step that he's taken to reach this point. And god damn it, he's my fucking main character, bro. He is my main character. That's all I really have to say. He's my main character. He really is. He really is my main character. Michael Kaiser. I have to say, Michael Kaiser is interesting. I would probably still put Baro above him. Maybe not. They're kind of neck and neck, honestly. I can't really decide. Kaiser is one of the closest people to Isagi in this very moment. And I just have to say that Kaiser has, when he was first introduced, being the douchebag that wanted to embarrass Isagi and would ruin Isagi's goals just because so he could shine. He had his own personal fucking gimp in Ness that followed him wherever he goes, and Kaiser became this person that would choke himself so that way he would fucking, you know, so he could feel something and autoerotic asphyxiate himself so he could, because he came up with a plan to beat Isagi after Isagi embarrassed him, and that made Ness get just embarrassing, bro. This is soccer. Let's all calm down here. Kaiser's telling people he was gonna stab them on the fucking soccer field. Fucking wild shit. Michael Kaiser is fucking crazy. But I will say, after seeing his backstory, I gotta say, I kind of do fuck with Kaiser a little bit. I kind of do. After seeing Kaiser's backstory, I kind of do fuck with him a little bit. It makes sense why he's such a fucking dickhead. It's all he's known, and he is taking the world himself because he has never had anyone fucking love him. So why should he ever fucking give a shit about anyone fucking around him? It makes sense. It's not that it's not that I like him. He's not my goat by any means. But it's almost like his character clicks in my head for me, if that makes sense, right? It's like, oh, that's why you are the way you are. And I can kind of understand that. The Blue Rose is a cool character, and I genuinely do appreciate his writing. He looks so majestic. Yeah, the long hair do the long hair do be complimented him with the tattoos. Yeah, he's definitely 10 out of 10. He's a model for sure. But the thing is he's a little bitch at the same time. And I love seeing Isagi fucking embarrass Kaiser. How does it feel to be the clown of my story? He's like, you're fucking insane, bro. I love that. He's like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about? We're playing soccer. Stop saying random shit. Isagi's been talking about Metavision, Predator Eye, fucking protagonist, fucking nature. Bro, are you okay? When's the last time Isagi's had a mental checkup? You know? But yeah, oh my god. The fucking backward shot, the Kaiser fucking strike. Yeah. He has he's grown on me, for sure. I do appreciate Kaiser as a character. I think he actually complements Isagi very well. Wish me luck, there's a car accident in front of me? Oh god, well I hope everyone's okay. Be safe. But seeing Kaiser and Isagi team up will definitely be interesting as well. But yeah, as someone that got the shit kicked out of them by their dad almost every single day, and the only thing that he knew was the ball. Ball literally was love. Ball was life. I mean, yeah, I can respect it. I can respect Kaiser. I don't have to like him, but I can respect him, you know? The little fucking dominatrix shit he's got going on with Ness is a little weird, but other than that, you know, I don't kink shame. Karasu. See, you know what? I want to put him in mid, but I feel like people will get upset with me. I just feel like looking at people that I had put in the pretty good category, Karasu, I can't really think of any big moments that Karasu has given me where I'm like, oh shit, the Crow has teamed up. He had that decent moment in the most recent, in the last couple of chapters where the Crow literally manifested. I think that might have been the first crazy thing he did. But since the selection arc where he was brought up to be like one of the top 5 players out of the 300 that Blue Lock originally had, I don't think Karasu has really shined, you know, in his role, especially when he's got people like Charles, Shido, and Rin on his team. It's kind of tough. Seeing him appreciate Hiyori's growth is cool, but other than that, I really don't think Karasu has done anything insane. He's a reactive player. Yeah. Like, other than standing in Hiyori's way and being like a decent defender, I haven't really seen him score any crazy goals himself, let alone in the Neo Egotist League. Yeah, you know, he stole, you know, a decent pass or two. He's played defender well. But I just don't think Karasu has, you know, hit the nail on the head for me. Something's missing. He's good for the story because if he makes a big play, it's at least a tad bit believable. True. Of all the characters that has been developed, he's one of the characters that has lacked development in the Neo Egotist League. Of all the side characters that have been getting developed, I feel like him and Otoya have been somewhat in the background for sure. Doesn't really have, yeah, he hasn't really had any limelight. So I got to put him in mid. Jin Kiora is a character that I probably also would have put in mid. If he didn't just get developed like a month or two ago. The fact that like he has like that backstory of like he's always been tied between, you know, two sides, and he has to always make the choice of, you know, he has to support the losing side. I kind of like it. But other than that, he hasn't really done much besides make one play in the very last game. Breakdance pass in episode Nagi was magical. I did not see episode Nagi, so I might be missing some critical lore. I might be missing some critical lore for that one. This might be a controversial take. This one might get me crucified at the stake, but I've got to be honest with you. Kunigami, just kind of pretty good. I want to give him pure ego, but for Mr. Wildcard, Noel Noe clone, I'm not moved. He scored a couple goals in the Neo Egotist League, but for a character that seemed like he was going to have a big moment of development this arc, he hasn't really gotten much, and he's kind of been sitting more in the background. Even this whole, it's on episode Nagi is on Crunchyroll. I'll have to check that out for sure. Kunigami has constantly been overshadowed by Asagi's development. Hiyori is more critical to the team than Kunigami at this point. Kunigami is definitely important for when he's blocking Shido, but that's all he's done in PXG. He passed to Asagi. He passed the Kaiser. Karasu had light on in the episode Nagi manga. I'm not familiar with Karasu's game then. But recently, yeah, all in all, I wouldn't have to give it to him. But yeah, Kunigami's kind of been in Isagi and Kaiser's shadow most of this game. Multiple games, honestly. He hasn't had much time. He's always gotten, you know, overshadowed. Hyped up only to fall to the sidelines. We'll have to see if maybe he gets developed later in the World Cup. I mean, he's definitely a character that's going to make it forward. And I have to say, his little, his bitter attitude where he's just an asshole now and he doesn't like anyone. And he's like, yeah, you know what? None of you guys understand me. Understand what I had to go through. You know what, dude? I don't care. Kunigami, stop being a little bitch. I don't know what to... Turn off the angst, bro. Grow up. Corona, I mean, what do you want me to say? He's one of Isagi's pawns. He's constantly just there to help Isagi make plays, especially in the beginning of the Neo Egotist League when the entire team is against Isagi. Corona really is literally just there to help prop up Isagi. At the very least, Hiyori was able to break out of that role and grow and become his own, fun character and make a name for himself on the team. Whereas Corona just has not done that whatsoever. Corona just hasn't done that, Lavinho, I think, is a really cool character for sure. I'll put him next to Chris Prince. To be honest with you, I think the one goal he scored in his game with Spain really, was a lot of flair, a lot of great, Let me see if I can find a colored panel. It's probably fucking dope. Oh, not Lorenzo, Lavinho. Lorenzo's my boy. How do I spell it? Lavinho. Yeah, like I said, that one goal was fire. Dance till you die, I'm a butterfly, a little butterfly of death. And again, the fact that he was a great mentor to Bachira, exactly what Bachira needed to develop his creativity to the fullest. Very awesome. I'll put him in pure ego just because he is a world-class player, of course. But, yeah. Other than that, I don't have much else to say. Bro, you know what? Loki got, I'll put Loki in pure ego. Sam, I don't really have much to say about Loki because, honestly, he kind of got overshadowed in the France game as well. Like, not for nothing, Isagi was kind of right when he was like, oh, you're just fast, bro. That's literally it. You're literally just fast. That's all he was. The whole thing. He didn't score. He didn't change the tides for his team whatsoever, which also I will say it's insane that while sure he definitely, was able to make really good plays and change up a lot of things, at the end of the day, it shows how much the Neo Egotists have evolved since we first met this guy way, way back in the fucking very beginning of Blue Lock, during when we played the World 5. As someone that, was talking all that shit, Isagi was right. Hey, dude, you kind of came in this game and didn't do fucking shit except the L. Don't be like, oh, I guess soccer is kind of lame. I guess egoists really aren't that great. No, bro, you just came in this game and got kind of beat out and didn't really do anything. That's kind of how it is. Yeah, you thought you thought you were gonna come in and fucking fuck everyone up, and you didn't, bro. So, damn. I gotta say, I gotta put my boy Lorenzo. Gotta put my boy Lorenzo. Because in pure ego, we love Lorenzo. I think he's super cool. The little zombie fucking play style, very funny. The Ace Eater, he only gives a shit about people based off their value. I mean, as a scumbag who literally was taken off the streets by Mark Snuffy into being one of the best fucking soccer players in the world to the point where he got his own gold fucking grill. Like, I love his character. He's not, he doesn't have, he doesn't overstay his welcome, right? Like, he's essentially Italy's the Uber team's Kaiser. He's like their big, you know, ace player that ends up bending to Barrow's will, and I think he plays really cool. I think he's funny. Where am I placing Henri? Didn't I already rank Henri? Oh, Henri. Oh yeah. I forgot. I'm sorry. I forgot who Henri was. My bad. I don't even think Henri's on this list. Bro, he got world class real fast. He was already grown when he started trading. That's so true. I forgot who Henri was for a minute. But yeah, I love that he steps up to Kaiser immediately. He's like, "Yo, what up?" But yeah, he's just a grimy little fuck. I think he's funny. I like his character as a whole. He's got charisma. I appreciate it. He's not, you know, an amazing player, but he does what he needs to do. I like Lorenzo. He's fun. Got to put him in pure ego for real. Although I think Charles probably plays a little bit more dastardly than Lorenzo does. Luna, that's one of the World 5. Let me just get the World 5. Let me just get some of these players off of here. Right? That's who they are? Yeah. Let's get these guys out of here. They brought Loki back, but they did, I guess they changed the World 5. They changed those characters. They're like, you know what? Let me switch these up. We're not going to use these guys anymore. Fair. He's like, let me cook up some better designs. All right. We know the drill. We've got Nagi. We've got Nagi. You know what? Hold on. You know what? Yeah, you know what? I'm not gonna rate, you know, I'm gonna keep the team masters all in their own category. Obviously, they rate pure ego. I think that's obvious, you know what I mean? So I'm not gonna put them on the same ranking as these guys. I don't think that's necessarily fair, right? I don't think that's necessarily fair whatsoever. Let me just make sure. So we put Charles over Hiyori. Lorenzo can stay right there. Yeah, Nagi right under Barrow and Kaiser. Yep, I think that's fair. Nagi self-explanatory, completely true. Nagi is also one of my favorite characters. If I had to have a number 2, Nagi would probably be my number 2 favorite character. I mean, he's Mr. fucking Worldwide. He's always got the craziest goals in the entire series. Every time he touches the ball, it's pure fucking chaos. He's got some of the coolest fucking, you know, hitting the pose after he fucking scores the goal every single time. And every time, every game he plays, he evolves. The fact that he's someone who's just a born prodigy at soccer and only evolves when he actually has a goal in mind or something that he wants to surpass or something that he wants to do. Like this most recent coloring of Nagi, you know, having a second awakening, realizing that he needs to step it up, which I also love. Ego saying that that amazing 5 volley goal is actually going to be, could most likely be the death of Nagi's career, and how it actually fucking happens. Literally, he just starts to drop more and more because he can't keep up with the amazing, irreplicable goal that he makes on his very first game. And he has to constantly live up to that, and he just can't. but I think this new Nagi will be able to. But even from the very beginning, when Nagi's introduced all the way back as the you know, the star of Team V alongside Reo and Zantetsu, I mean, holy shit, man. You know, he has some of the coldest goals in that moment. And also seeing him develop alongside Isagi in the future, you know, arc afterwards when they're all fighting and stealing different players and rebuilding their team. Yeah, I mean, also seeing him score some of those insane goals. His moment when he tells Reo that Reo sucks. And he's like, you know what, Reo? I left you behind. I'm way too fucking cool for you. Insane. Nagi generally deserves to be, you know, one of the best players of all time. And it's sad that he's such an inconsistent player, right? His opening goal in U20. Yeah. I'm interested to see what Nagi's answer is to becoming and hitting that next level that he needs. Because at first it was using the player that Chris Prince set up with him to bring out the best of Nagi and bring out a Nagi that was willing to put in the work and use 100% of his brain and energy to being the best player that he could be. When actually what ends up being the best for Nagi is, you know, sometimes being free flow, creative, and going on the fly, and having someone like Reo that can inspire his creativity. But the problem with that is he needs to do both. He needs to implement both sides of it. He needs to put in the work and also have the irreplicatable goals that can come from his intelligence and creativity, right? He can't just neglect one side. He needs to do both. And I think that might be the answer that he seeks. But regardless of which, genuinely speaking, I love Nagi. Like I said, if I had a second favorite character, it would be Nagi, without a doubt. Bachira's my number one. Nagi's definitely my number two. If I had to put a number three, it would probably be... Anyone down here matter? Well, let's go through everyone and I'll see if I can pull up a top five. Lorenzo's someone I'd like to go out and party with. Fair. Very true. I feel that. Lorenzo looks like a chill guy for sure. Ness, you gotta go in cheeks, bud. Ness, I don't know what's up with you, bro. You got problems that you need to work on in therapy. Your mentality just ain't it. Just ain't it at all. You need to stop the simping, the standing for Kaiser. Become your own person. Get some help, please. I don't know what you're doing, but yeah, Ness. I don't think Ness has ever had a cool moment since being introduced. He has been the biggest fucking loser since I think he was literally written to be that way. And I'm imagining he is going to stay that way. Oh, but maybe not, you know. He may go the same character route like Reo. Yeah, because now that Kaiser is moving on and going to start working with Isagi, Ness is going to have a mental fucking breakdown. Very similar to what happened to Reo. So, you know what? Maybe Ness will grow. I feel like the way that Blue Lock goes, Ness will become a better person for losing Kaiser this way and develop, and we'll see a little bit more from him potentially, or he'll get left in the dust. One of the two, to be honest with you. I don't really care. But yeah, it does make sense. Bro is indeed spitting on it, and he will always be spitting on it. Nico, I think, steps up to the plate here. Should I put Nico? No, because you know what? I don't think he's done anything too crazy. I'll put Nico at the top of pretty good. I think being a defender is Nico's best way to shine, and the fact that he developed the Metavision alongside of Isagi is definitely very cool. I like Nico as a character. He's someone that seemed like he would fade away into the background, but eventually became a really strong character and a really fun rival to see him go up against with Isagi. Obviously, on Ubers, he's always going to fall short to borrow, but still. I think Nico, along with Aiku, Lorenzo, and Baro, make a very strong team. A very, very strong team. But other than that, Nico hasn't really, you know, shined in his own way. Besides fucking breaking people down, as he said in the U20 game. He loves breaking, you know, people down, you know, and being a defender like Aiku, which is why he gets along well with Aiku. It makes sense why both him and Aiku, you know, have metavision and, you know, are both great, you know, additions to a team with Baro on it. They are great support for someone like him, for a striker like Baro. But yeah, until then, until Nico starts scoring his own goals, that's what I'm just gonna have to say here. That's just what I'm gonna have to say here for that one. Next up, we have Noel Noe, and of course, you know, we'll put him with the World 5 Team Masters. You know, I'm not gonna put him on the ego tier. But I will say, having Noe as a mentor, quote-unquote mentor, as we find out later, to Isagi, it's fucking awesome, in my honest opinion. It really is cool to see Noe, this character that Isagi looked up to since he ever wanted to play soccer as a kid. Now he's not only being trained by him, but he's also playing on the same field as him, getting passes with him, and making really critical plays with him. It's really interesting to see how far Isagi has come, that when on the field sometimes, Noe chooses to follow Isagi instead of Kaiser because Isagi makes the most sense in that moment, rather than Kaiser. Even though it was revealed that Noe was just using Isagi to develop Kaiser to the next level, he ended up pushing Isagi further than he ever thought and ended up developing Isagi alongside of it. So now Noe is a rival to Isagi, rather than in the very beginning of the Neo Egotist League, Isagi couldn't even picture himself beating Noe because he looked up to Noe, he idolized Noe. Noe was everything that Isagi wanted to be and grow to be. And now, come to find out, Isagi doesn't give a fuck about Noe anymore, because not only has Isagi grown a considerable amount to, again, make critical plays alongside Noe and play on the same field as him, now he found out that Noe never gave a fuck about Isagi and was just using him to build the Kaiser. So now fuck Noe, which is exactly, honestly, what Isagi needed to tell Noe to fuck off, and that he would see Noe in the World Cup so he could beat Noe. And that sounds to me like an Isagi that knows or can picture himself beating Noe now. So that's really cool to see. Otoya, honestly goes, you know, right around here, with Aryu, in a character that just has gotten purely overshadowed by all the other main characters around him. Otoya is a great support character for Bachira. As a ninja, you know, he plays really great, you know, as a support character. But as someone that was top 4 in Blue Lock originally, he hasn't really done much in the Neo Egotist League besides play more support. He's kind of like, he's kind of, you know, he's just like Karasu, where he doesn't get the limelight a lot, but he's kind of like almost like what Chigiri used to be, where he's just the character that they use to break past a lot of the defense with great speed and evasion, and then he passes. He's what Chigiri used to be. And unlike Chigiri, who developed his golden ratio and developed a way to score his own goals and become his own player and adapt to his own ego, Otoya never really got that development whatsoever and has just kind of fallen by the wayside. Like I said, if anything, at least Karasu is able to still make kind of decent plays in, you know, in France, whereas Otoya, even in Spain, he's not really doing anything too crazy. As soon as he hits Neo Egotist League, it's kind of hit or miss. So yeah, I gotta put him in mid, unfortunately. Gotta put him with Aryu, as someone that just gets completely overshadowed. Raichi definitely goes in mid. I'd probably put him right around here. I'd put him a little bit past Corona as a defender. Him and his fucking sexy tactics or whatever, shark tooth over here. I do love that we kept some of these characters around just so, you know, just so we don't forget about them, and just so we have other characters for the main cast to bounce back and forth with. I don't even think Igagori is on this list, which is honestly kind of crazy disrespectful. Raichi is funny, but I did love see him I did love see him kind of leveling up in these most recent games as a defender and just being able to kind of keep up. And you know, with who was he defending? Lorenzo, or was he defending Charles? Shido, Rin, who was Raichi defending? I have to look this up. I have to check. Right now I'm putting Igagori on the tier list. I can't believe they forgot about him. I can't believe they forgot about Igagori. Think it was Lorenzo? Okay, that's what I thought too, right? I'm not forgetting stuff. This was weird. I'll do my job and crush everyone in the midfield, so you two spoiled princes better get your shit together. That sounds better than whatever the fuck the one translation I read said, where he was like, I'll happily shovel shit. Yeah, I'll get covered in shit to protect you, so go ahead and piss all you want. I was like, I'm sorry, Raichi? What did you say? Yeah, as a defender, he does really well on the team. That's why he got picked again to play in the final match against France. I think, like I said, as a background character, he's very similar to... He's like the best case scenario of a character like Aryu, you know, where he at least still has moments to shine, you know, and make decent plays, and Isagi still trusts him. Even Kaiser passes the ball to him at one point. Rayo is an awesome character. I would probably honestly put him above Hiyori for right now. Rayo's copy machine, you know, copy weapon, to be able to copy everything for 99%, and also the fact that he wants to become the perfect blend of Rin and Sayatoshi's different play styles, makes him a very scary contender that is able to make very strong goals on his own, but also support Nagi in a way that is unheard of and the other characters kind of can't really compete with. Rayo's forgettable? I disagree. I completely disagree. Rayo has metavision, or Rayo is able to, again, score crazy fucking goals and copy what other people do in the game. I think his protagonist, you know, ideals of being the perfect right-hand man to Nagi makes sense. From the very beginning, as starting out as a, you know, spoiled rich kid character that wants to become a world-class soccer player because it doesn't come easy to him, very believable. Also with the fact that he immediately, you know, makes Nagi become a soccer player and ends up getting overshadowed by Nagi in the process is funny. Rayo's able to play defense, he's able to play offense, he's able to be a striker, he's able to be a passer. He's honestly whatever you really need him to be. He's kind of almost like a lower brand version of Mark Snuffy and what Mark Snuffy wants to be, whereas Mark Snuffy supports his whole team, whereas Rayo supports Nagi. Mark Snuffy is a much more all-rounded support class character to become the best player because he's the all-rounded, but Rayo is kind of the same, right? Just not at that same level by any means, but getting there. I'm interested to see what Nagi and Rayo's plan is for the future in regards to how they're going to develop going forward. Because again, they clearly working together and doing their own thing hasn't been working. So are they going to split up again and try to focus on their solo routines again? Or is it going to be something different? I'm interested to see what the developments are. But I think Ryo has earned his place in the pure ego league alongside of Hiyori and Charles. Again, he's a great midfielder. He's a great all-rounded player. And again, I would rather, if I was picking someone to support me, I would probably rather pick Ryo than I would pick Hiyori, even though Hiyori has leveled up a lot. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there's a reason why I put Hiyori in pure ego, even though Charles, Ryo, Hiyori, and Lorenzo are more support tier characters, there's a reason why they have their own ego. They're egotistical in being support characters. Their main protagonist aura comes from supporting the key players on their teams, which honestly is real shit. You don't have to be the number one player. You can strive to be number two. Sometimes being number two is all right. So yeah, I still think that's egotistical. I still think they meet the term of ego. They found their drive and they are the best in their, and these are, the ultimate, support class characters for sure. Next up, we've got Rin Atoshi, who, of course, pure ego without a doubt. That is obvious. Do I even have to say it? I mean, even from day one, the moment that Rin was put on screen, he was a monster. He was introduced by kicking two balls against each other somehow, just to make a spectacle and be a dickhead about it. Like, that was his introduction. And ever since then, Rin has just been, the hardest to get along with. He doesn't like anyone. All he cares about is beating his older brother. But it was interesting to see how he clashed with Shido in the selection arc. It was interesting to see how he fought with Sai in the U20. Honestly, the highlight of U20 for me was the dynamic between Sai and Rin and their backstory and how Sai left Rin behind and gave up being a striker. But in my honest opinion, I think Sai probably found a similar dream to what Charles, Ryo, and Hiyori found. Same with Lorenzo, right? His ego and his belief in being the best led to being the best midfielder, being the best support to a striker that can actually match his skill set. That upset Rin because Rin wanted to be the number two to Sai, not the other way around. Where Rin was unwilling to be the striker and also just wasn't good enough in Sai's eyes to be the striker that Sai wanted to support. Rin was still one of the best fucking strikers of all time, and his only goal was to surpass his brother. And in the U20 game, he definitely came the closest he's ever been to it. However, he was overshadowed by Isagi, and this was just the beginning of his killer instinct, his destructive instinct that we learn later in the Neo Egotist is the reason why he lives, the reason why he plays soccer is to bring out the best of someone and then destroy them in front of everyone. All he wants to do is bring out his brother's best weapon and destroy him. And that's why even now, as he's still becoming his monster and beating the other people around him, he still sees phantoms of his brother. His brother still haunts him, and he's stopping from making clear-cut, easy-to-win goals because he doesn't think they'll be easy enough to beat Sai. He still thinks if Sai was here, he'd be able to stop this goal. Which Loki even mentions that you'd probably get kicked out of a game for pulling some shit like that. Which is believable. Literally believable. But yeah, his moment where he fucking pulls Isagi up and says, hey, here, look at my fucking goal is insane to me. And yeah, his awakening in the Neo Egotist League is disgusting. Rin is definitely an egotist above Baro Shoei's level, and I'm interested to see how those two clash with each other. But I'll be honest with you, Despite becoming this all-rounded best player in France, I'm not impressed with Rin Itoshi's performance in the most recent kind of games, to be honest with you. He hasn't really moved me. You know, he's made really good plays, don't get me wrong, but I expect that from Rin. I expect Rin to make really good plays. That's nothing new from Rin Itoshi. What I do expect is for him to absolutely crush the fucking competition, and that's not what he's done. Honestly, in my opinion, Shido stood out more in this final France versus Germany game than Rin Itoshi has. Rin's been so focused on beating Isagi and clashing with Isagi that and reaching his pure egotist level to beat Sai that he literally could have scored a goal and may have potentially won the game, or, you know, got at least closer to winning the game than they are now, and didn't take the shot because he didn't think he'd be able to beat Sai with it. So this Rin that's currently restricting himself from becoming the best he can and winning the games that he needs to, I'm not quite sure. Sai didn't traumatize him enough. Yeah, this new destructive Rin, while I'm all for it and I'm happy he's found what drives him, killing and destroying everything around in front of him, being the true villain. He's more of a villain than fucking Baro really set out to be. He's the, you know, Rin's the real monster. I just don't think, I'm still waiting for Rin to move me in this game, in this final game. We'll have to see what happens. God, Blue Lock colorings are so insane sometimes. If Rin can't beat Sai, then god damn it, man. Sai Itoshi, same here. He's an obvious pure egotist. He's one of the best players right now in the world. I'm going to put him with the World 5 and the Team Masters. Honestly, World 5 Team Masters, Sai. Just because Sai is the fucking man himself. I mean, Sai's performance in the U20 game speaks for itself. If the U20 Japan didn't have Sai in that game, they would have lost to Blue Lock 3 times over. Sai, honestly, awakens 9 times out of 10, 9 of the other, most of the U20 team into joining the Neo Egotist League because they realized how pitiful they were. They realized what they were missing out on. And if you'll notice, a lot of those U20 fucking team members aren't even on this list. Sendo isn't even on this list. Sendo doesn't fucking, Sendo is nothing. What team did Sendo even go to? Did he go to France? I don't remember. No, he went to Italy. Pfft. Lame. But yeah. Sai and his chemical reaction with Shido and the fact that he sees the potential in Isagi before I even could. Sai is a player that I'm excited to see in the final arc of Blue Lock in the World Cup. I want to see not only Rin get the respect he deserves from his brother, but I do also want to see Isagi, Rin, and all of these high-tier characters that we've been building up in this Neo Egotist League meet up with Sai again and be on Sai's level. And finally, Sai won't be the legend, in the room, be the one character that's outplaying every single person. So yeah, and again, I said it when I talked about Rin. Sai and Rin's dynamic as brothers is one of the most interesting parts of the Blue Lock story to me. I do love their backstory and their rivalry, and I think I'm excited to hear what changed Sai's mind to becoming a midfielder, because there's still pieces to this story that we're missing. And here we have Shido. And this might be the most controversial thing that you hear in the entire fucking world. Fuck Shido. No, I can't put him in cheeks. I know he's not true. I'm sure he probably sits in pure ego. But you know what? I'm going to put him in pretty good. And here's why. Shido is detrimental to himself. Shido is a character that literally... I gotta put him in ego because I know people are gonna get upset. But Shido is just, you know what, is a loser. I don't like Shido's energy. I've never liked Shido's energy. Shido has always been a character that seems very full of himself. He's very cocky. He's very ignorant. He's willing to scrap up and throw hands with any person that he doesn't like, which, sure, you could say, oh, you know, he's that egotistical. But there's you know what? I think there's something that we learned in Yukimiya's arc, that you can actually ego yourself to death. You can get so lost in your own ego that you end up being detrimental. And I think we've even seen that to a point that Shido, one, is getting completely boxed out by Kunigami the entire game. He's literally not able to break away from Kunigami as soon as he starts blocking him. He's completely blocked off from Charles. He's unable to make any critical plays as long as he's got an actual decent defender on him. Shido isn't able to mesh with any other character that is literally, you know, that isn't able to bend to Shido's will. Like, not for another thing, Charles and Sai are the only two characters that have ever been able to properly handle Shido. And that's only because Charles and Sai act on a level that these characters, you know, act on a level that they don't, if Shido's not able to make their passes, then they don't care. Sai and Charles make their passes knowing that the person they're passing to might not be in the spot that they're passing to. But Shido is able to break all of his limits and constantly hit those passes. If Shido is, let's say for example, if Shido was on Spain without Bachira, and Shido had Otoya, and who else? Fucking really nobody else standing on his side. What is really Shido gonna do here? Shido would be basically in the same spot that Bachira was. Shido has not found his true ego, and if he has, his true ego kind of sucks, in my honest opinion. If Shido is able to rise to the occasion, break through his ego, and join and mesh with Rin in these final moments of the France versus Germany game, then I will take back what I've said. But in my honest opinion, I've never once been moved by Shido. And while Shido did a lot of really cool things and scored a lot of really cool goals in U20, I don't think he has done shit in the Neo Egotist League. He hasn't shined at all. I genuinely just, like, without Charles and without Sai, what has Shido done? Genuinely. As soon as he entered this world-class table, I mean, think about it. Even Rayo's fucking stunting on Shido here in U20. He did score on the World 5 on his own. I guess that's fair. But the thing is we don't know how he scored that goal against the World 5, do we? Because you could argue that it might not have been on his own. Why do people continue to say Shido needs to be fed when he literally was named number 2 with no chemical reactions? He beat Kunigami and Reo with Igarashi as his partner. We've only ever seen him play in, what, 2, maybe 3? Again, this is, you know, way back in the early Blue Lock. Shido scored against World 5 with a pretty weak team behind him, at least a team of no names. Main problem with Baro is that he is... Baro can create his own goals a lot more efficiently than Shido. I agree with that take. Even if you want to double the goals that Shido has scored so far. I mean, if you think about it, what was the score with France versus Italy? Baro's not sure even though he chose Italy and Baro didn't score, even get on the leaderboard. So like, why do you think this is? So Baro didn't play. So they beat. France beat Italy easily. Here we go. Here's the Neo Egotist League game results. Yeah. They beat him 2-3. But I guess Baro might not have played. Alright, I'm caught up. My bad. No, you're all good. Alright, well. Either way. Here's striker needs to be fed. PXG are built to get the best. I know variety matters, but it's like Baro's relatively a jack of all trades. Shido's not unstoppable in the box. That's why he couldn't score against Manshine. See, it seems like a lot of people that get upset about Shido needing to be fed argument don't really have good arguments. Like, oh, they can block his passes, the passes that are being fed to Shido, and block his shots if he gets it. Well, if the passes that are being fed to Shido are being blocked and his shots are also getting blocked, it sounds like he can't make plays on his own if that's the case. And it sounds like he's only good if he gets fed. Shido scored a goal against a much better defense than Manshine has. I guess that's arguable. I also don't know what happened in that match. If he got benched early, we got a new ability of Shido's lefty shot, demon shot, blah, blah, blah. I have to say, introduce Jesus Crowd as a player is not able to spark a single chemical reaction with anyone in Blue Lock. It was not until he played with Sai that he was able to show his complete potential. However, now he plays with Charles, a midfielder who Loki thinks will be able to make him the best in the world. If you don't think he's as good as Sai, that's fine, but he can't be that far off. Shido realistically cannot use the excuse that he can't spark a single chemical reaction when he was a great midfielder playing behind him. Rin and Shido play on the same team, receive the same training, have their own systems, are not allowed to interfere with one another, and both play with Charles, and yet Rin just has double the amount of goals. If in the third selection Shido scored 4 goals, Rin would score 5. In the Neo Egotist League, Shido would score 4 goals and Rin would score 8. And I still haven't addressed his dynamic with Kunigami and how Shido's fated to lose in some sort of fashion. This post is both serious and unserious in a sense. Rin's only goal right now is not number 1, but killing Isagi for good. All he cares about is explosions. He also misses most of his shots, as said by Loki. Fair. Description made by Ego make it clear Shido has more raw talent and would be at full potential with a great passer and team adapted to his playstyle, making him the true egotist, which makes no sense since now he's got Charles and he's still behind Rin. So, like, I understand. So I guess what it really comes down to, right, would be that if Rin wasn't on France and Shido was on France, Shido would make chemical reactions with Charles. But I guess my issue would be is would that be enough to make France the best team? Like, would Shido beat Bastard Munchen if Rin wasn't there? Clearly not, because Kunigami is boxing Shido out entirely this game. And it was as soon as Kunigami boxes Shido out, literally if they didn't have Rin at all, France would not be scoring goals. So I guess my argument would be is that they would probably be still a really good team. Like, they beat Italy, supposedly, with Barrow apparently not playing. And I don't know, man. I just both scored, but Rin scored twice while Shido got one. Manshine, Rin scored 3 goals in 15 minutes. Loki said they changed in those intervals, so Shido didn't play at all. Barca, Rin scored 1 while he couldn't get another goal, so Shido came in and finished the job. Rin is constantly better. Shido would be at 3 goals, while Rin has 6, 2-1 goals. Y'all don't understand shit about Shido. The problem with this guy is not that he's getting respected. Like Ego said it better, no one in Blue Luck can make him progress, and I think that's the case in Neo Egotist League 2. He was just clearly the better player if he was taken alone. I have to admit, Rin is better for using his teammates for his own purpose. Shido just doesn't care. Give him the ball, and that's it. That's it anyway. That's not my point. Like I said, Shido was already super good and did U20 because of one thing, Sai. If Sai doesn't exploit the potential of Shido, then no one in Blue Luck, and probably even in the Neo Egotist League, can. Maybe Charles, but honestly, Sai over Charles in terms of pass. So Shido just doesn't level up, and that was hinted at the second selection end where he said that Kunigami wasn't able to make him level up. No one in Blue Lock did. We have to say that Shido is already super strong, but his growth rate is just so bad compared to what the others are assuming. Not blah blah blah. I just don't. So then that's not an argument. Then again, if Shido, the problem is if Shido is only good in one specific situation, then he's just not good. A good player should be able to be good in any type of situation. I mean, look at Mark Snuffy. Literally, like, just look at Mark Snuffy. Where is he? Like, he's the world's best player because he's all-rounded and supports his teammates getting goals as opposed to scoring goals in and of itself. He can score a goal. He's a great striker, but he's going to go for the best possible logical play always. That's just how Mark Snuffy works. It's like, that's why he's number 1, because he works in any type of situation and can fit any type of team or player and will always adapt to it. Whereas Shido just can't. I don't know, man. I disagree. I honestly, I've talked myself into it. I think Shido's just, I think until Shido, you know what would make me change my mind? And this kind of goes into what I said before. Shido's one. Now you got me thinking. I'm telling you. See, we did all that looking into it. I'm like, actually, fuck. Like, again, like, so Shido, what would benefit Shido and what would level Shido up would be, honestly, the same ego death that Isagi goes through, where he says, fuck my ego, fuck being a striker. I just want to be the best soccer player in the goddamn world, and I don't care how we get there. I just have to beat my villain, beat the next team, and win this fucking game, and fucking, you know, play the best I possibly can. I don't care about my rivalry with you, Kaiser. If we have to work together, that's fine. That's the same thing that I think Shido needs to understand. And like I said, what would really up this final game for me and make it the best and final game in the Neo Egotist League truly would be if Rin and Shido undergo and understand the same thing that Isagi and Kaiser do. Although with it being 2v2 and only 1 goal left determining the end of the game, it's pretty clear that pretty fucking clear that, yeah, whoever scores this next goal, Rin, I don't think Rin and Shido have the time to develop the same way that Isagi and Kaiser do, unless their goal gets blocked and everything like that. But yeah, Shido, I have very strong opinions on, and I understand that, you know, I admit he's a terrible striker. I just like his overall character. For me, honestly, Shido represents the kind of ego that I don't like. And actually, I would even say that he's part of the reason that I wasn't the biggest fan of Kaiser, even. I have to put Baro over Kaiser, honestly. I have to put Baro over Kaiser. I'm sorry. That might be, they're like neck and neck. They're probably the closest matchup right now on this team, but I would have to put Baro. But for usurping Ubers from Snuffy, I think that puts Baro above Kaiser. And if anyone gets mad at me, that's my argument for putting Baro above Kaiser, is that the fact that Baro literally stole the team, not from just Lorenzo, but stole the team from the team master itself. And Kaiser ain't doing that from Noel. ain't doing that from Noe at all. But anyway, yeah, I think Shido, not only has he not moved me, Shido has always been a cocky prick that honestly has no right to talk, for the fact that no one is able to create a chemical reaction with him, and no one is able to play on the same level as him. And sure, you could say that, oh, but look at someone like Sai, right? Look at someone like Sai. Sayatoshi, when playing on U20, Sayatoshi literally said, oh, you guys all suck. I'm just going to make my own goal. I gave you guys 3 chances and I had to score myself. Shido ain't doing that. Shido's not being the sole man on the team and completely running circles around an entire Neo-Egotist level play. Like, sure, you could argue Shido was doing that in Blue Lock. Shido scored a goal against the World 5. Shido was with weak teams all of Blue Lock. Shido was, Shido was unable, was running circles around everyone in the selection arc. Okay. Do you understand the level of play that we're on right now in the Neo-Egotist League? We're literally playing with fucking world-class players. Again, I'm sorry, but everyone that Shido's playing against has evolved. So you could say that, sure, Shido's, was beating Kunigami. Okay, Kunigami has been locking Shido down the entire France game. And again, even if you say that Rin and Shido are the worst possible, joint play, and they have to play separately, and that's why Shido can't turn the team into his own. As someone mentioned before, the whole point of France is that they have a Shido team and a Rin team. They literally play in different intervals. They have the team that works for Shido and the team that works for Rin. So up until this game, they've never had Shido and Rin on the field at the same time anyway. So you could still argue that Shido has been playing as the nucleus of the team, and still Rin has been doing better than Shido. So yeah, I'm sorry. Until Shido is able to make the same kind of growing pains that characters like Bachira, Chigiri, Nagi, and Baro have done, where they literally break themselves down and build themselves back up and develop brand new weapons to adapt and grow in this new level of play. Chigiri used to be a speedster and just was the one that used to be able to break through the defense and pass. Now Chigiri is able to use his speed in tandem with his other skills to be a striker and score his own goals. Same with Nagi, same with Baro. They've all been able to turn their plays and powers into even sometimes unique weapons that make them, not because they have teams built around them, but they literally become the nucleus of the team themselves. Same with Isagi, same with Rin. Not even the same as Rin, honestly. Because you could still argue Rin had a team that was made for him, made for his playstyle as well. Whereas characters like, again, Isagi, Baro, Nagi, Chigiri, Bachira came into pre-existing teams and literally not only adapted to that team's playstyle and level of skill, but usurped that level of skill and became better than those people to naturally become the new nucleus of the team. Again, Baro, I'll say it time and time again, Baro was able to steal the team from the own team master. His own ego surpassed the world-class player, the #1 player in the world, Mark Snuffy. To the point that Lorenzo and all the players of Italy bend to Baro's will before they bend to Snuffy's will now. Baro didn't, reach that height because he had the best possible support player in Lorenzo that was able to, take him to the top. Even you could argue Nagi right now suffers from having that handicap in Rayo as being that support class character. Baro is better than Nagi because Baro can make people bend to his style. Even from the very beginning of Blue Lock, Team X, Baro became the nucleus of Team X because the people around him literally were like, he's the best player, I have to give him the ball. Not because, oh, Shido's gonna beat me up if I don't give him the ball. Yeah, you know what I mean? Shido has not moved me, and he's got some amazing goals, but until he breaks that ego down and starts realizing he needs to change himself, not the other people need to change for him, he's on pretty good tier. And I know that is very controversial, and I'm sure people will be very mad that watch the VOD here, but it is what it is, and I will never change my opinion. It is what it is. Up next, we've got Toki Mitsu, who is the nervous, big buff dude, and he was the #3 player in Blue Lock before we completely changed gears. So, the thing is, though, whereas Aryu, Otoya, Raichi, Kiora, they've all made decent plays. They're sidelined characters, but even in the background, they've had moments where they show their, value to the team. Toki Mitsu has done the least of it. Maybe I should put him in mid and cut him some slack because he specifically has been saved until the very end. But honestly, even during U20, he didn't play during U20. He barely gets shine and barely does anything in this recent game with France. I just got to put him in cheeks, bro. I can't even give him the same glory as Aryu or Otoya. At least Aryu or Otoya got moments. Tokimitsu has like that one moment when he gets introduced as the top 3 and then never again. That's it. Literally never again does anything. And I'm sorry, I have to calls it like I sees it. He's literally just as, I'd put him above Ness at least. Ness sucks hardcore. Ness is the worst character in Blue Lock, but yeah. Tokimitsu, yeah. Yukimiya, mid. Honestly, Yukimiya is super duper mid. He's definitely king of the mids, the sinking ship himself, but I gotta tell you, his whole little main character arc that he had was one of the funniest things in the world to me because it was so interesting. So interesting. Literally watching him think that he was God's chosen striker and that God set up all these trials for him to surpass and that he would do better than all of these people and that he was the chosen character to succeed and that he would surpass his blindness and be world's best and then he got his goal blocked by Chris fucking Prince, bro, and called pathetic. Embarrassing. Fucking embarrassing. And also the way that he yells at Isagi and gets bitter and angry for Isagi's growth as a character and Isagi getting all of these things, quote unquote, handed to him, when in all reality, honestly, Isagi earns all of the wins that he gets and Yukimiya is just jealous and mad. When Yukimiya, people that have talent will think that people that work hard and surpass them are cheating, when in actuality, bro, you just suck. You had your talent, it got you to this level, and that's the furthest your talent will take you. You can't just hope that your talent will, and being, the chosen one from God will get you to, the top League of Striker. You got to put in the work, bro. And Yukimiya wasn't putting in the work. He was angry and bitter at the world around him, and he got humbled. And I think that was very, I think it was great. And I think that was a great lesson for Blue Lock to teach, that you can get drunk on ego as well. You can think that you deserve things that you don't fucking deserve. And that's what happens to you. You end up becoming a sinking ship, and you end up becoming embarrassed. And honestly, Chris Prince needed to humble Yukimiya, Isagi needed to humble Yukimiya, and now Yukimiya is a better character. I actually saw a thread earlier today that people were upset that Yukimiya hasn't been participating in the final game, and the author forgot about Yukimiya, and Yukimiya's arc is terrible writing, when in all actuality, no, Yukimiya's arc is just done. Yukimiya learned his lesson. We learned the narrative point of what Yukimiya was to not, think you're him if you're not actually him, and to understand your worth and understand you are not the main character. Everyone's the main character around you. It's a lesson that Isagi learns as well in Manshine, where everyone is their own protagonist, right? Everyone's the protagonist of their own story. We're all different stories meshing together, and we need to not only understand that, but find the best ways to not only integrate ourselves into other people's stories, but to understand that, we're not, the main character spotlight isn't on us. Everyone's a main character of their own story. Yukimiya isn't special, and you shouldn't think that you are. Thanks, Oolong. Appreciate you coming by to drop a like. Love you. So yeah, Yukimiya top of mid because he scores that goal, and he's got the best backstory, I think, next to, Jin Kiora, as the side characters that at least got pumped up a little bit in the Neo Egotist League. But yeah, other than that, Yukimiya is just, plain old mid. Honestly, I gotta give the same to Zantetsu, character I completely even forgot made it this far, and I'm surprised that he ended up being, the speedster for Shido. I thought that was funny. It's also funny to me that the two Shido team characters are the least played characters, whereas the characters with Rin, Nanase, and who's the other character that plays alongside Rin? Maybe it's Zantetsu. Maybe I'm forgetting things. I mean, even Nanase isn't on this list. But honestly, Nanase isn't. I wouldn't even consider Nanase a main character. He doesn't. I would put Nanase in Cheeks if I had the chance to. So, trust me. Not missing anything by not putting him on the list. He'd be in Cheeks as well. And we've got the #1 egotist himself, Iga fucking Gyori. Top of ego, pure double S. He should get his own tier. Nah, I mean, obviously, Igagori probably sits down here in Cheeks, but we'll put him in the bottom of mid just because he's fun comic relief. I'm glad that even though he's never shown one reason at all to be in the Neo Egotist League, let alone even still be in the story, honestly, he was very similar to Raichi at some point. But now that he's getting his hot tier moments to shine, honestly, you gotta put him right next to Raichi, because his fake foul to Rin is one of the funniest things in the world. And hey, you know what? If that's the fucking role you need to play, Igagori, play that goddamn role. Gotta remember, Kunigami's basically playing alone. That's why he can't score much. You might be behind in the You might be behind in the VOD if that's but that's okay. That's fine. Either way, I think Kunigami scored. He's shown that he has the capability to score, but maybe he doesn't have that people behind him. But again, I would argue that's a flaw with Kunigami as a character. If Kunigami came in the Neo Egotist League as the Kunigami we had before, the fun-loving hero instead of the angsty asshole, maybe he would get a pass or two every once in a while. But yeah, Igagori, he's shit, but he's got the heart. Gotta respect it. Exactly. And again, the fact that they've found a way to make him relevant again with fouling Rin and almost getting him a red card out of the game, funny. Hey, if that's how you gotta contribute, that's how you gotta do it. But yeah, for Raichi and Igagori, of all the characters to have no reason to still be in this level of play, where Corona, Otoya, and Aryu are still definitely higher tier characters than them, yeah, I think they shine. Raichi more so than Igagori, I think. Igagori probably sits down here for sure. But yeah, I think his involvement has been fun. And yeah, anyone else that isn't on this tier list that's important, I do apologize. Honestly, no one's coming to mind that I think I'm forgetting. Besides, like I said, maybe Nanase, but who gives a fuck about Nanase? There may be a couple other characters here or there that are missing. Like I said, Sendo, some of the other U20 teammates. But again, who cares about Sendo? he was there just to get made fun of by Sai, and I thought that was hysterical. His, awakening that he wants to marry, a Hollywood actress instead of a pinup model or whatever. Funny, but yeah, either way, if you're not on this list, you're not a true striker. And I think this is the most truest to form, tier list that I could have ever possibly made. If you have any, problems or concerns with this tier list, you are just factually wrong and incorrect. You should just accept that. And we will meet at dawn to fight it out, because this is the tier list that I am sticking with, baby, and we're not changing anything going forward. Again, World 5, I would probably put, in like a lower tier, if anything. However, it's just easier to mix them in with the Team Masters. Obviously, all the Team Masters would be pure ego. Chris, Lavino, Noel Noe, Snuffy, even Loki, despite getting embarrassed by Isagi, should be in pure ego. Sai as well, but I don't want to pollute the pure ego tier, because again, these are more for the characters that we've grown up with and learned to love along the way. While also you have characters like Charles, Lorenzo, Kaiser, characters that have also made a name for themselves in the Neo Egotist League, but aren't necessarily, the world masters or the world class cup players, But yeah, I think these are the pure egotists, the best characters in the game. And if I had to arrange it as in like top 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I was gonna say this is pretty close. I'd have to say if I had to arrange, this is obviously Ego League. Like, let me save that as like, this is the actual tier list right here, right? But just before we go, if I had to arrange this in top 10, it would probably go like this: Bachira, Nagi, honestly, Isagi's come up here. I almost had Rin as number 3, but I feel like Isagi has usurped Rin in this last arc. Isagi's really fucking come in clutch. Number 4 for sure. I gotta put Chigiri over Baro personally. I love Chigiri as a character. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are my top 5 characters without a doubt. Top 5 for sure. Baro definitely comes in as a close 6. Who else is on this list? Snuffy's backstory was really cool, with his friend wanting to be the world-class best and everything like that. I loved Snuffy's characters. Snuffy is probably my favorite of the World 5 if I had to pick out of all 5 of these. Chris Prince is probably my second favorite, but Mark Snuffy honestly can go up here before fucking Kaiser does. Kaiser has grown on me, without a doubt. Lorenzo is one of my favorites too. Rayo's probably up there. Hiyori's definitely grown on me. Aiku's probably up there somewhere. Fuck Shido, furthest possible away from all of that. I don't care about any of these characters. But yeah, Chris Prince is probably up there too. I would probably put Chris Prince above Kaiser. And this is all characters that I think are really cool. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You know what? I'll put Rayo at number 10. Put Rayo at number 10. And you know what? Take Sai out. So Bachira number 1, Nagi number 2, Isagi number 3, Rin number 4, Chigiri number 5, Baro number 6, Snuffy number 7, Lorenzo number 8, Rayo number 9, and IQ as number 10. If you want to know, those are my top 10 characters. Nothing to do with skill, ranking, or anything. Those are just my top 10 characters based off of how much that I like them. But anyway, guys, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I sincerely appreciate it. I guess I'll probably just end up changing the title of the stream to you know, ranking every Blue Lock character. But either way, I really enjoyed letting you guys letting me just yap as much as I possibly could about Blue Lock. It's one of my favorite series. I'm so happy to be caught up and just be reading Blue Lock alongside you guys now. I might start doing chapter reviews on them. I might even start doing Blue Lock streams on Tuesday. We'll have to see. We'll have to see, like we do with Hunter x Hunter. I'm sure there's plenty to talk about. But yeah, guys, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I sincerely appreciate it. Let me... Hold on. Yeah, let me reset. And let me just remake this. Rayo and Aiku. Oh, nope. Yeah. All right, and then that's my top 10. I'll save that. All right, guys. Thank you all so much. If you made it all to the end, I sincerely appreciate you. This was a lot of fun to get all of my thoughts out on Blue Lock that I'm all caught up for. And honestly, I've been watching Arcane. I'll probably do another stream maybe next week or so once I finish Arcane. I just started season 2 and holy shit, that's off to a fucking roll. But yeah, guys, I sincerely appreciate you staying all the way to the end if you did. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope it was fun listening to me yap off all of my strong Blue Lock opinions. I'm excited to see not only how the Neo Egotist League ends, but I'm also excited to see if Rin and Shido are able to step up to the plate that Isagi and Kaiser are now stepping up to. Make sure if you haven't already, you hit that like button. You guys are all the best, and I'm sending you love from afar, whether it's morning, afternoon, or night, what time it is for you. Just know I'm in your corner. I'm here for you, sending you that spirit bomb energy as much as I can. And yeah, I love you guys. I'll have unfortunately, I did look at some of the comments, and I'm gonna do one more cartoon power scale. I'm gonna do one more cartoon video. I'm gonna do Nick Jr. homunculi. I'm gonna do the Nick Jr. homunculi. It's the last one. I swear to God, last one. It's it. I'm done. I'm not doing PBS. I'm not doing anything else. We're done. And yes, guys, happy Thanksgiving. I'm probably not gonna stream before it, so happy Thanksgiving, happy Turkey Day, guys. If you're American, if you're in the United States, that's kind of fucked up to say if you're American. If you're in the United States, I don't care what nationality, ethnicity you are. I don't care who you are. If you're in America and you celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope you have a good Thanksgiving and a good holiday. Have a safe Black Friday if you're going out and shopping. And yeah, I'll probably be streaming either Friday or Saturday, depending on when the next Hunter x Hunter chapter comes out. So look forward to that. And yeah, guys, I love you all very much. Thank you for hanging out with me as always, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace, peace. You know, keep your ego. I'm done. That was embarrassing. I'm out. Peace.